ABC. It is old Metal Rocker65 here. I have my year-end top 20 list of 2024. I did not do one last year because I was in the midst of moving to where you're watching me now. Been here just about a year. But anyway, so I wasn't able to do a year-end list. I was too busy moving, and then I had to unpack everything. So by the time I got everything done, it was almost February, and I did not want to do one that late in the beginning of the new year, so I decided not to do one. So here we are back with this year's top 20 of 2024, in my opinion. I didn't buy as much as I have in the past as far as new releases. I would say on average, prior to maybe last couple of years, I would buy probably up to 150 new release albums, all mostly metal. And but this year I've bought more quality over quantity. That way I'm able to listen to it over and over again, whereas I don't have all these albums stacked up that are waiting to be listening to. So anyway, enough jibber jabber for me. I got some honorable mentions here, and they easily could have made my top 20. This easily could have made it, which was Moog's Motel by Phil Moog of UFO. It's a really good hard rock album. Really a solid release. It's what you would probably expect with a Phil Moog album, minus most of the UFO members. So went solo, and he put out this one. Good release. And then good to see a new album from these guys. I've always loved this band, even in the early days when Gus G was around. Dream Evil, Metal Gods album. Some good power metal. I've kind of drifted away from more of the power metal scene and focused on more thrash, traditional heavy metal, old school heavy metal, stuff like that. But I do buy power metal here and there, but good release. And this was just about there, not quite. Anything you get with Herman Frank is usually going to be good, and this is the case here. It's good, but it wasn't quite the top 20. In the past I would have done top 25, but I'm only doing a top 20. Victory and A Circle of Life, very killer hard rock. I think of all of his material, this is probably definitely in the hard rock vein, whereas other bands he's with is usually more into the heavy metal vein, the heavier side of himself. But this is still a killer release from Victory. And this was close to, and I really loved this release when it first came out. And this is no exception here. This is the Rods and Rattle the Cage with David Feinstein. I mean, how killer stuff. I mean, how can you not like this stuff? This is even on, what is it? It's on the Massacre label. So, but red vinyl, honorable mention. And the last one, and this one arrived probably about a month and a half ago. And of the three releases, I would say this is by far their best. This is their third album. And this is really a good sounding new wave of traditional heavy metal with guys who are who came from other bands. Some were in death metal bands mostly, you know, and then he wanted to do something different, and then they formed this band Pounder, and this is Thunderforged. Killer new wave of traditional heavy metal. Third album, and it features Matt Harvey, Exhumed, Gruesome, Tom Draper, Spirit Adrift, Ex Carcass, and 8 hammering tracks. Good stuff. Alright guys, now we're getting into the top 20 list. These guys have been really putting out an album probably about every 3 years, maybe, yeah, about every 3 years, and this one is really a killer album. These guys go way back into, what is it, 83, 84, with their first 2 albums, and this one here is a really good album. I really loved it, and this has Bobby Leatherlung Lucas on vocals, Mike Benito's on guitar, and I'm talking about Attacker and the God Particle. Just a killer heavy metal record, straightforward heavy metal. But like I say, these guys have been cranking out albums about every 3 years. I would say, I can't, what was their last one? I'm trying to remember, but anyway, out on Cruz del Sur. Definitely they stay true to their sound, and they definitely have been putting out some really good albums over the last decade. Killer stuff. This is really good. Pick this up, coming in at number 20, Attacker with the God Particle. Number 19, a band out of Canada. Those guys are out of, Attacker was out of New Jersey. Out of Canada. Female fronted vocals. Definitely have that traditional metal vibe, but they mix in the deathy growls of the vocalist. And you have Letharo and Chasing Euphoria. Not a constant death growl when she's singing. I mean, who else is doing that? I think of Angela Gasol from Arch Enemy, Alicia Glues White, also with Arch Enemy, Sabina Clausen with Holy Moses, you know, right in that similar style. If you like that style, you'll definitely love this. This is Letharo. And this gal is just pint-sized, but she's got a killer vocal range. But anyway, good stuff here. Was that number 19 there? Number 18 comes from a band out of Ohio. They have, I think this is their 6th release, and pretty much all of them are on vinyl, except maybe there's, I think, an EP out there, a CD EP out there that is not on vinyl, but this is their latest offering, and this is on High Roller Records, epic heavy metal from, like I say, I think these guys are out of Ohio, not Cleveland, but Columbus maybe? Anyway, I'm talking about Iron Flame. And what is it? Kingdom Torn Asunder. Killer epic metal. Put out by High Roller. All their stuff is really good. I like this High Roller logo they got for the inners. Just looks good. But there you go, these guys here. But yeah, these guys, epic heavy metal. I really do love epic heavy metal. Throne of Iron is a band that's epic. Battle Roar, epic heavy metal. If you like those type of bands, you'll like Iron Flame. That was number... If I don't mark these off, guys, I will get lost. So we are at... number 17. This comes from a band, I believe these guys are out of New Jersey as well. They've been around for quite a while. They are on the Fire Flash Records label. This is limited to 300 copies. Killer album. What did I say? Number 17, I believe. I gotta have a list here, guys. Yeah, number 17 from Ruthless and the Fallen. Man, this is just straightforward heavy metal, just killer. I mean, from track 1 all the way through the last track, I mean, it's just great heavy metal. These guys have been around for quite a long time. You know, I love these. I don't know if you can see these inner sleeves on these, but pretty cool. I don't think you can on this, but yeah, veteran heavy metal guys. They've got quite a few albums out too. But coming in at 17, Ruthless with the Fallen. Coming in number 16, one from our neighbors from the north up in Canada, eh? We are just about at the start of winter here, even though it is winter. Officially starts next week. So our shortest days of the year are getting here, and then it's uphill after that. Anyway, this is their second offering. New wave of traditional heavy metal. Where are these guys are out of, oh God, where the hell are these? I thought they were out of, somewhere out of Ontario, I thought. But anyway, the band is Freeways and Dark Sky Sanctuary. And, I mean, killer stuff. Their last one is the covers are just, it's Freeways, put it that way. It's Freeway covers. The first one I think has the truck on there. And in between this one and their first album, they come out with a couple of 7-inch EP albums. I think one was red, one was green. If you didn't happen to get those, I don't know if you can get them anymore, but I do. I did happen to pick those up. Nice inner labels from Dying Victim Records. But yeah, coming in, what did I say, number 16 is Freeways. Number 15. Thrash metal band, killer band. I think this is their fourth release, I think. And this one is very good. And Germany. These guys are out of Germany. Yeah, these guys are out of Germany. There's no question about it. But I have every stake and album, EP they ever put out, and this one is probably up there with one of the best they put out. Sentinels from Vulture. Killer thrash metal. If you like Stalker out of New Zealand, if you like Knife, I believe out of Italy, you'll like Vulture. But killer stuff, Metal Blade recordings, and Crystal Clear with Black Smoke, only 400 worldwide, and it has a download card. I don't use them. But Vulture at number 15 was Sentinels. This one at number 14, it really took a while for it to really sink in. I'd say it took at least 3 weeks. I mean, I really wanted to like it right off the bat. I did like a couple of their videos they put out. I think one was Humanoid, and of course that probably gave it away, which was, what did I say, number 15? No, number 14, which was a German heavy metal band, Accept, and Humanoid. What is this, the 6th release with Mark Tornillo on vocals? 6th? 5th? I think it's the 6th release, but yeah, I mean, once it sunk in, this thing really took hold, and it became, well, like I say, it number 14 on my top 20 list. So, but yeah, Wolf and the boys, they're still kicking them out. I always consider the first 3 albums with Mark Tornillo on vocals are the best 3 albums in heavy metal history, in my opinion. I don't know, some may agree, some may not agree, but with Mark Tornillo, I mean, Blood of Nations, what was it, Stalingrad, and I'm trying to think of the other one. I can't think of it. But the 3 of the best heavy metal albums for that time era. But this is really good too. Number 14. Number 13 is another thrash band. I think this is their 2nd release. And these guys have just the most killer cover artwork. And these guys are thrash, death thrash, but not a full-on death band. But I mean, it's a really good album. If I'm going to listen to death vocals, and it's thrashy like this, and it's tolerable, and I can at least understand, this is what I want to hear in death thrash. Is a band called Vicious Blade and Relentless Force. I mean, look at that cover, just killer. Could be thrashy, could be speed metal at times, but these guys just rip. It's on purple vinyl. Like I say, I believe this is their 2nd release, but killer stuff. I had the CD first, and then I picked up this album, and yeah, really good. That was number 13 with Vicious Blade. Number 12, and it is what we're listening to in the background. I didn't want to go with the number 1 or the last one. I wanted to kind of get in the middle with one of these bands' CDs as I'm doing the top 20. And this is what's playing in the background. Killer release. Killer artwork. What is this? Their 4th release? 3rd release? Band is called Motivic. And Renouncement is the album. Just some rip-roaring, ass-kicking, head-banging thrash. So you kind of see the theme of where I'm going now. So, thrash, yeah, baby. One of my go-to styles, along with new wave of traditional heavy metal, as I've been showing, are predominantly what I listen to mostly, and this is killer. Pick it up, man. You guys, you'll love it. I believe this is the last female-fronted vocalist in the rest of my collection, or in the top 20. This is the last one, and I've always loved her. I kind of look at her like Doro-esque vocals at times. Even I mean, but she plays the bass, and I'm talking about Martina Gabriel of Crystal Viper and the Silver Key. I mean, this is like album number 10 or 11 for her, and every one of her albums are good. I mean, she is just heavy metal through and through. Her and her husband started the label. I believe this might even, yeah, I believe this might be the label they own. could have swore, or they bought one right after this. I think this is it. Listenable Records, but Marta Gabriel, yeah, killer. Picked this up, and you love it. But they say number 11. Now we're into the top 10, guys. We're getting into some heavy hitters here. Coming in at number 10. This band hasn't really put out a whole lot of albums, even in their early days, but what they did put out are killer. And then they've been back for a few years now, and they've been putting out some killer material, killer thrash, and I'm talking about Evil Dead and Toxic Grace. Is this an Ed Repka? I'm not sure if this looks like an Ed Repka cover, but I don't see his initials here. But anyway, just a killer cover, killer thrash. Maybe a little crossover at times, but still, I mean, it's still a heavy album to listen to, man. I just, where I'm sitting now, I just kind of move this way over and just a little bit up, turn the music up, and it sounds like everything is directly in front of me. And when you crank this, it sounds amazing. Amazing cranked. But yeah, Evil Dead with Toxic Grace. Killer stuff. Number 10. Number 9. More thrash. Yep. You got her, guys. This was an early, well, I wouldn't say an early release, probably maybe right before Midsummer this came out. And I wasn't really all that familiar with the band. I saw a couple videos online and I liked what I heard, and then I went out and I searched a couple of their videos or albums. And I picked up this one here, but it was on CD first. I do have the CDs. I don't have the CDs of every album I've showed you so far, but I do have well over half of them. Anyway, this band, thrash band out of Germany, killer, fast. I mean, if you like Exodus, Death Angel, Testament. You'll like A Surgical Strike and the album 24/7. This thing is a ripper. This thing is killer. I mean, it is non-stop thrash out of Metalville Records. And yeah, I think this is their second release. They have one right before this. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it doesn't come to mind right now. But killer thrash from Germany. This band here out of India, this is their 4th album. I've been following them since their first album, which I'm not going to remember right offhand. But these albums are hard to get in the States. Nobody really carries it. And most, except this one here I'm showing you, I did finally get it. There was a mom and pop record store I saw online, and I asked them out of curiosity, messaged them, I asked them if they were going to be able to get this album, and they said, yeah, we can get her. And I said, all right, I'll take it. So when it was in, I sent the money and it was mine. But normally you got to buy these overseas, and they're only limited, very limited quantities. I mean, like 100, especially with this band, and they should be putting out more quantities. But this band is out of India, just more straight traditional heavy metal band against evil, and these guys are phenomenal. If you like straightforward heavy metal, Judas Priest, Saxon, in that vein, this is what you're going to get here. And these guys kill, and they're on the Doc Gator label. they only put out like 100 releases, and I was lucky to get them all so far, but otherwise, like I say, they're hard to get. But this is killer heavy metal. What did I say? Coming in at what? Number 8. Against Evil from India. Killer album. Coming in at number 7. Another album from our friends to the north. This is what they kind of classify as caustic thrash. This is their 3rd release. Killer band. They're on the CDN Records label, and these guys are amazing thrash band. Band is called Corrosive, and this is their latest release, Catastrophic Creation from Corrosive. I mean, look at that artwork. It's just phenomenal stuff here. I mean, all their other covers too. Caustic Holocaust is another. Actually, Caustic Horde's another killer album from them. I got it right down over here, and I have the other one as well. But man, Canadian thrash, these guys are ripping it. And speaking of Canadian thrash, Sacrifice is due to come out with their brand new album, I believe in January, or was it February? I think it was February 25th of 2025. Brand new Sacrifice coming out, so looking forward to that. But meantime, go get this, and you'll backtrack on these killer stuff. Canadian thrash, Corrosive. Number 7. Number 6. This is an album that was long overdue by this band. And finally they put out this album. This is their 4th album. This was kind of one of the first bands in the first wave of the new wave of traditional heavy metal that kind of wanted to make a resurgence just like when new wave of British heavy metal was coming out back in the 70s, and in that area. But these guys were one of the first in that first wave, and these guys, what are they, out of Sweden, I believe, and these guys are killer. Helvetite's Port and Warlord's album. Just some killer new wave of traditional heavy metal. What I say, they're on what, High Roller? Yeah, I thought I said High Roller. Or maybe not. Yeah, they're on High Roller. That back kind of reminds me of one of the covers of Overkill. Trying to think of the album there with the barbed wire there. That's kind of what it reminded me of when I first saw it. But anyway, killer new wave of traditional heavy metal, and it's a very good album. I mean, this has been out probably about 2 months now, 3 months, about 2 months, but definitely killer stuff. At number 5, and this really surprised me, not because of who they are, but of how good this album they put together is. I mean, I read about it all year since its release, how good this album is. And I know there's going to be this on a lot of people's lists. At least I would think so if you're a fan of hard rock heavy metal. In particular, this band here, which has been around since, what was it, 67? They put out one phenomenal album. And I'm talking about Deep Purple Equal One. Man, this thing is so good. It kind of reminds me of Deep Purple of the 70s in areas of this of how they blend the keys, the drums, and and Ian Gillan's vocals are just so good in this. Especially Lazy Old Sod. I mean, just a killer track. And yeah, number 5, Deep Purple. Who would have thought even Deep Purple would really, I mean, I've been following Deep Purple since the early days. I still buy a lot of their stuff. I have been buying a lot of their new stuff. And over the last 20 years, I'd say this is by far the cream of the crop for them. I mean, there were other good albums in there, but this one right here, it takes the cake, you know. And I mean, it's a good album. If you've not heard this, do yourself a favor. Go pick this up. Deep Purple. What did I say? Equal One. Killer stuff. Number 5. Number 4. Another album from a band north of the border here. And this is, I believe, what is it? There's third album? Yeah, I believe this is their third album. And to me, I think, well, that debut was really good too, but this is really to me, they really matured a lot on this album. You know, you can definitely hear the maturity from 1, 2 to 3. This one really stands out a lot. I mean, they really blend really well together, the guitars, the drums, but this is more new wave of traditional heavy metal in the band Traveler and prequel to Madness. Number 4 on my list. Just killer new wave of traditional heavy metal. They've been out probably, I want to say 8 years, 9 years maybe, getting close to 10, but these guys, I mean, these guys don't crank out albums like some bands do, or bands that have in the past, where I think the quality lacks a little bit. You know, I think if you put out an album every year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years, I mean, then you're taking time and putting into well-crafted heavy metal, you know, and this is really well-crafted, good stuff from Traveler, prequel to Madness, at number 4. Top 3, guys. And little story on this at number 3, and it is a monster thrash album. Guys out of Arizona. But this album that was coming out, or supposedly coming out through Amazon, and I know there's a number of us that had paid the discounted price of like $18.50, I think, for the album. And of course the release day came, and of course we never got it. Never got it. It's still in my cart, because I definitely want to see if we're going to get that price anyway. But anyway, I got tired of waiting and waiting and waiting. I finally ordered a copy from the same guy I got the Against Evil album from. And he had texted me, told me he got them in. I said, great, here. I sent him the money, and he sent it within a day and a half, 2 days it was here. And this album here, these guys just keep cranking out killer album after killer album. Thrash, power thrash, but Flotsam and Jetsam and I Am the Weapon. Man, look at Flotzilla. I mean, that's just a killer cover. I mean, how do you not like this album? I've read where, it's just same old boring Flotsam and there's no ingenuity in them. Go back and listen to their previous 4 albums, and see the progression. See how far. I mean, they were great anyway. I mean, these guys, fantastic. They put out killer albums. Their last one was great. But yeah, I Am the Weapon. But yeah, so I don't know the story on if anybody's ever going to get that Flotsam and Jetsam album ever. But number 3, now we got the top 2, and maybe you guys might know the top 2 here, but this one was about that far from overtaking number 1. I mean, it was that close. I think probably because number one had more bonus tracks. I think kind of influenced me a little bit better, but by no means is this a slouch of an album. This album rips from track one all the way to the back, especially, what track is it? There's something in Roswell. Saxon, Mighty Saxon, Hell, Fire, and Damnation. Man, such a great album from these guys. I mean, it's heavy. It's got great lyrics. I'm trying to think of the guitarist in there now. I mean, he from Diamond Head. I can't think of it. Anyway, he fits in perfectly. I mean, he brought a lot of creative juices to this band too, and it shows in a lot of the songs. And the guitar parts in here are great. I mean, but yeah, phenomenal album at number 2, Saxon. I mean, how can you not like Saxon? I mean, I virtually have everything Saxon ever put out and then some. I mean, yeah, there are some Saxon albums in their catalog that are clunkers, but, you know, being diehards we are, you know, we still have them. We still occasionally maybe we'll listen to them, but this got a lot of airplay for me when it first came out. So, yeah, Saxon at number 2 with Hell, Fire, and Damnation. And I'm sure you guys know number 1. Just a great release. I mean, it's right up there, in my opinion, with the 70s, early 80s stuff. Very close. I mean, this is, I'd say, in my top 5 of this band's material. They would probably be number 5, number 4 right in there. I haven't really done a ranking, but of course we're talking about the Mighty Judas Priest and Invincible Shield. Fantastic. I had gotten the CD first, and it did not leave my CD player in my truck for a month. I mean, it was just constant rotation. I mean, that's how much I listened to it. And rarely will I even go a couple weeks long with bands and artists, because I just don't like to get burned out. But this one stayed in a month. And of course I got different various versions of this. I got the regular version, I got the alternative cover version on the CDs, and then I have the vinyl. But what this pissed me off here the other day, I played this, and for some reason when I got it, the packaging it came in was undamaged. So I didn't have no reason to think it was damaged at all. But I had played this a couple times, and I really never looked at it. I should have, but I didn't. Well, the other day I looked at it, and I had a couple of bad scratches. I don't know if you can see them right here. One's right here, and the other one's right here. Well, the whole line just goes all the way down to about here on each side. And I went, ah! And only one side of the album got damaged. The other 3 sides played perfectly well. I cleaned this up, and I didn't know if it was going to play. I put it on there, it played, and it played good. I mean, no skips, no nothing, but I was dissatisfied by the damage to it, and immediately I went and I bought another one that is not damaged, mint condition. You know, being a completist of a lot of bands, Judas Priest being one of them, I had to pick up a new copy just because I hate damaged albums. I know it happens sometimes, and it's unexcusable at times, and it happens at times, but that was on my fault. I should have looked a little better, and then I probably could have got a replacement. Anyway, guys, if you got any comments, leave them below about the top 20 in the alternative list. And if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll get updates of all my videos coming up. And hit the like button and leave any comments. So anyway, guys, that's all I have for this year's top 20 of 2024. Stay heavy and stay metal, and we'll see you next year on the top 20. Later, guys.